Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be 10 palettes that I'm going to be using this spring. So makeup doesn't have to be seasonal. There's definitely things that I will wear all year round, kind of like what I'm wearing today, minus the sweater. But I definitely noticed that as the weather changes, like going from cold winter to warmer spring, I definitely am in the mood for brighter colors, a little more fun. So this is a collection of 10 palettes, some new that I've just gotten that I'm excited to use more of, and some older that I've been wanting to use and excited to pull out again. And I'm hoping that this will give you inspiration, maybe not necessarily to go buy these things. If you do, I mean, that's great, but also to go look at what you might have that's similar to this and use it again. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Colin. I'm a non-binary Latinx scientist and lover of makeup with a definite soft spot for indie makeup and high-end makeup, which you will see both of here today. And I tend to be pretty analytical in the content I make, just in talking about something new, like the video I just filmed, or, you know, talking about things I already know and love. And I have new videos every week, and so I'd love to have you subscribe. Okay, so very excited for the weather to turn. I am not a fan of winter. I do like sweaters, especially right now with my weight fluctuating a lot. It's nice to have something baggy and cozy, but I am definitely a be in the sun, warm weather person in general. I'm originally from California, so it makes sense. So I grabbed, this is about half things that I've gotten in PR and half things that I've purchased, but just things that I'm excited to play with more this spring. And if you're interested in the makeup that I'm wearing today, I did just film a first impression video. My base makeup wasn't new things. I have those all linked. I'll have those all linked. But the first impression was I bought 6 of the quads from Girl Cult, and I used 2 of them. One of this one, and then a shade from another today as a first impression. So I will have that video up soon, maybe before this one. Like I said in the intro, some of these are brand new and still available, and you could go purchase them. But this isn't necessarily to sell you on things. It's to give you inspiration. If you do want to go buy any of these though, I will have everything linked down below with affiliate links for what I can. And if you do use them, it does help a lot. That little bit of money that comes in really helps me be able to buy the things that I do buy for this channel. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is one of the newer things that I've gotten recently, and I did get this in PR, and this is from Nomad Cosmetics. This is their new Ireland palette. This is really beautiful. I did get this in PR, like I said, and I do have a non-affiliated code with Nomad, so I don't earn money, just saves you money. But I really like this. This is very spring. I think it fits the theme of the Atlantic coast of Ireland very well. It's basically every green you could need, so if you've been wanting more greens, this has a lot of them. I think the formula in this is great. The mattes are really pigmented but blendable. The shimmers are really sparkly and creamy. This is just one of the best formulas they've done, and I think it's a really pretty color story. I love green, and so this is just very green. There are like some blues and some coppers and some neutrals, but you definitely have to have like greens to get this. But I love green, as you can see from my sweater and my eye look. So really happy they sent this to me. Really excited to keep playing with this just because I've only had it for a few weeks now. Okay, the next thing is going to be another thing that I got in PR recently and I have been loving, and it is the first palette from Heutopian Cosmetics. So this is the Burnt Forest palette, and I think this is a really great all year round palette, but it's definitely Burnt Forest. It's very spring to me, and I am excited to keep playing with this. I've done multiple looks with this. I've used every shade in here, I think. Yeah, I've used every shade at least once. Excited to keep playing with it though. My best friend borrowed it for a week and used it and was like, this is amazing. So really, really like this. I don't have a code with them, but I think there might be a code that the brand owner has for a discount. I know they were doing that to start, but I don't know if they're continuing that, but I'll have it linked down below. They did send this to me in PR, and then I bought their single shadow that came out at the same time. Really beautiful, really lovely formula. These are these are pigmented mattes, but they blend really effortlessly. Like basically the best 2 green eyeshadows I've ever used. Like I love the Nomad ones, but there's something about these that just, they're slightly different. And then the shimmers in here are all different textures, and I really love that. There's some more sheer shades, there's some really textured, super sparkly shades. You can go smoky, you can go ethereal. Really just think this is an amazing first launch from the brand. So thank you again, Heutopian Cosmetics, for sending that. It's definitely in the top ranking for like top 5, if not top palette of the year. And it is like a $58 palette, but like I think that's totally worth it for the price. But like I always say, what is worth it for the price is so subjective. Like I'm happy to pay $50 for something like that. But if that's significantly out of your budget, or like you're not going to use those colors, it's not worth it for you. So like you always have to take that, is it worth it? You have to put that in your under your lens and your perspective of, is it actually worth it? Is it actually worth your money versus my money? So the next palette is one that came out at the end of last year, and I really loved it then. But as we got like further into winter, I stopped grabbing it as much, and I feel like as the weather warms up, I'm gonna be grabbing it more because it's a very easy to do daily, ethereal, like sparkly, neutral looks. And it's the Natasha Denona I Need A Nude palette. This was a lot of people's favorite last year, and I think it's a very good spring palette. I'm sure she'll have a spring launch. No idea what it'll be. It'll probably be colorful, but I think this is a great palette. I wish it went a little bit deeper. I wish Silhouette was a little bit darker, and I wish like Tender and Stone were a little bit more different. Just because I think on lighter skin tones, they look more different, but on mine, they look pretty similar. Kind of like with the Yucca palette, there's some shades on me that I think they're very different because I have an olive undertone for them to go against. But lighter skin people were like, these two are too similar. So, you know, it's kind of the opposite of that. But I really love this. You can get kind of a nice brown neutral smoky eye. You can go a little more terracotta. You can go pink if you want. These just wet effect sparkly shades are really beautiful. And I think this is gonna be a go-to work look again, now that the weather's starting to warm up. And I actually wake up in time to do my makeup before work, which has been a struggle so far this year. But the gray and the cold really, really mess me up. Another palette that I purchased, I did purchase the Natasha Denona. Another one that I've purchased that I'm very excited to use more of this spring is the Lisa Eldridge Sorcery palette. So I have Sorcery, Vega, and Cinnabar. I'm sure Cinnabar will get some use. I think it's gonna be a good summer palette though. But this is a very good fall spring palette because you can get pretty smoky, but I think what I use the most often, I use Madrigal, which is a really pretty olive. I'll just like throw a bronzer down and that, call it a day. Or I'll use one of the more sheer shades, especially Mercurial. I wore that a lot last spring, so I just feel like it's gonna happen again this spring, early summer. Really love this like sheer, it's a heather base, so it's kind of purpley mauve, and then it's got that green sparkle. It's just really beautiful for this time, well, all year, but I have a feeling like as the weather warms up, I wanna wear less eye makeup, and so like one and done shadows and sparkly shades are really what I grab for. Okay, so the next two palettes are also things that I got in PR, and I'm just gonna put them both here. And they are two of the palettes from the new Odin's Eye collaboration. So they sent me all three of these thanks to Annette. I thought about grabbing Annette's, but I didn't wanna put all three in here. That's like a bonus mention. That one's a little bit darker, and what I've been wearing in this transitionary period, but I think as we move into full spring, I'm gonna start grabbing these two more, because Judy's Spring Dragon, I don't know what's going on with my voice today. Judy's Spring Dragon palette is a really beautiful pastel palette, and these actually show up on me. I didn't need a white base for these. I've been using these off camera periodically, but I feel like as the weather warms, I'm gonna wanna grab this more, especially when it gets like closer to summer and it's like actually starting to get hot. Like a pop of pastel and like a shimmer is what I'm gonna really grab. So this might also be on my summer palettes video, who knows? But it's very spring, and I have used this to test it and I have enjoyed it, but when it's 40 degrees and gray and raining, I'm just not in the mood for this. And I feel like that's starting to shift. So I wanna try this more now that the weather's shifting. The other one that I grabbed was Tina's Earthwood palette, and that's because this is a little more neutral, and this is like the epitome of spring for me. You've got some bright colors here, but they're not bright pastels like those. They're, you know, you've got a lilac, which I love this time of year. I could have put the ABH Nouveau palette in this. That's an honorable mention. I only have 2 ABH things, and that's one of them. And that's very spring. Actually, I should have grabbed that one. So just add that as number 11. And then you've got a really nice pale green and a coral. Those are like my favorite colors as far as like colorful things. You've got a really beautiful green shimmer, and then you've got some more toned down earthy shades so you can add some depth. You can ground it a little bit more. It's not as bright and colorful as this. So very excited to keep playing with those 2 palettes, and very thankful to Odin's Eye and Annette for having those sent to me. Very grateful. Never gotten Odin's Eye PR before, and I would love to be on their permanent PR list, but it was a very nice surprise to get that sent to me. Okay, so the next palette is another one from last year, and I'm very curious to see what the brand will launch this year. So this is Byredo's Remembrance palette. So these normally come out around this time of year, around March. So I'm really intrigued to see what they do. This is their 3rd one. Sad I missed the first one, the very colorful one, but Flora Kalahari and this are 2 of my favorite palettes that I own, and I'm just really happy I have this and really excited to keep playing with this. As we move into warmer weather and brighter weather, these are like perfect everyday shades. I wore this a decent amount in the fall. I wore this a lot last spring, summer when I got it, and then I wore it a bunch in the fall. I didn't really wear eye makeup over the hot summer. And then once it got past fall weather, I stopped wearing it as much, and I'm excited to grab it more. You've got some like more pinky tones but they're like a little more rosy, which I enjoy. You've got some oranges, you've got some neutral like taupey shades, and then you've got these really beautiful shades right here that I just really love. So I'm very excited to grab this out again, and I'm really excited to see what they come out with this year, because I'm assuming they'll have a 4th version, a 4th big palette this year. So fingers crossed it's pretty and it's within my budget to grab it. So, got 3 palettes left. The next one is another one that I got in PR, and it is the newest palette from Florasis. I don't know if it's Florasis or Florasis. I hear a lot of people say Florasis. Some people say Florasis. That's what instinctively I want to say. But, you know, English is kind of my first language. I learned English and Spanish at the same time as a kid. So I don't, sometimes I pronounce things weird. But I really love this. It's a really beautiful earthy palette, which is my day-to-day, is like earthy neutrals. So love this. You've got really nice mattes. You've got a more yellowy bright matte, and then a beige matte, and then a brown, and then this really pretty brick shade. If you want to add a little more color, you can really use them all in one look and it still looks fine. And then for the shimmers, you've got like a really soft, sheeny champagne, and then you've got 2 sparkly shades. One is this really pretty copper, and one is this blue. They did send this to me in PR, which I'm very grateful. This is the 2nd time they sent me PR, and their packaging is beautiful. The formulas are beautiful. It's very much luxury Chinese makeup, so it's not as like high impact as like this is, and not quite as sparkly as this is, but it's a little more refined, a little more buildable. It definitely is that luxury realm, and it's beautiful. Really love it. So really excited to keep playing with that. And the last 2 palettes I have for today are both older palettes that I really love, and they're very colorful. So they're things that I'm going to be grabbing for more as we move into warm weather. And the first is going to be Pat McGrath's Heutopian Dream. I have 10, I think there's 12 motherships, and I have 10 of them. I have all but 2. I don't have the 2 Divine Rose palettes. I have everything else. I really love the mothership formula. I think the mattes are, if not the best, one of my top couple eyeshadow formulas. The shimmers are really beautiful, and this is just a really lovely spring palette. I do like, Alicia Archer talked about how this is very Sailor Moon in theme as well, which I agree with. You've got the more mauve-y tone and this like darker rosy brown that you can use for like straight up neutrals. You've got a really beautiful coral that also makes a beautiful blush. The standard shimmers here are both really pretty. You have a beautiful bronze that I've worn so many times, and then more of a pinky shade if you want that. You know, it just feels very cherry blossom, very bright, colorful, but like also still neutral, which is why I like this. And then these two shimmers are pretty, and I do use them, but these two special shades are very flaky, very glittery, very sparkly, and they're what I grab the most. So this one is this beautiful like blue lilac pink. So you can see that shift there. Love it. And this one is this beautiful gold pink. I will use this. I'll do like a look like this. I mean, obviously not necessarily the green, and then I'll grab something like this to make it even sparklier, especially if I'm going out. But even on a regular day, I'll sometimes just do that. So very excited to be inspired to pull that out again now that it's a little bit warmer. Well, not today, but this last weekend being warm and sunny really has me like ready for spring and summer. But like I always say, I think these are worth the money for me. They are an investment, they are a lot, but never pay full price. Always go on sale. Like she does 30% off sales pretty regularly. Like wait for a good deal. Like do not buy it from like Sephora or something where you're gonna have to pay full price. Unless you have a gift card. I've definitely paid like $20 or $30 for one because I had a gift card. That was totally worth it. And the last palette I'm gonna mention is an older one that I still really love, and I've seen a few friends use it recently, and it has me like craving using it, and it is the Escape Pod from Kaleidos. I love Kaleidos. I have both of these big palettes, and I have 4 of the Futurism palettes. I don't have any of the quads, and I don't really know what they're doing right now, although they did just launch colorful hair dye, so they're kind of going back to color, but like, I wish this was a little slimmer, but like, I miss this form of Kaleidos. I love this. I do think there's some changes I would make, like these two greens are both beautiful, but they're pretty similar, so I like, you know, there's little things like that, but I love that you have some neutrals, so you can do a really grounded look of just like the neutrals and a green, or one of these two shimmers here, or like any of the shimmers, or you can go really colorful with these mattes. I really like these first two purpley tones here, and then I just love the shimmers in here. They're very sparkly. You can have them as like an ethereal wash of color. Kaleidos is what started my love for more iridescent shades, more sparkly shades, so I haven't used this in months and months, so I'm very excited to feel inspired to pull this out again, thanks to friends like Ivy used it and Cam's used it, I believe. So like, I'm just ready to play with bright colors again. Okay, so that is everything. That is all 10 palettes slash the honorable mentions. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you're gonna be grabbing for this spring. Are you ready for spring weather? My allergies are not, my eye is already really itchy, but like my body is ready for warmth. So, and sunlight. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next video.